Hello and welcome back to the Car Talk podcast, a show where we talk about the latest car news and the latest transportational opinion. I'm your host Bailey from the Grand Teen, and joining me today as usual is Matty from Matty's Cars. How are you doing today, Matty?
Well, I'm not too bad, yeah. I'm very good. How are you?
Good stuff, yeah, very well, thank you. This week we have got a lot of car news actually, which is a bit of a change.
We have.
And our theme this week is: are electric cars any less polluting than to the actual environment? Which we'll be discussing later on.
We can answer that straight away, but it'd be a very short podcast, wouldn't it?
Yes. Are we going to do that?
No.
We'll do that later.
Oh no, the answer's no, but yeah, we'll do it later. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Matty, let's start off with the car news as usual. What have you got in store for us this month?
Well, I think the biggest news before we even get to cars is that me and Bailey have actually met.
Yes, we have.
Which you wouldn't have known because since the last podcast. But yes, I have seen this man. Yeah.
In the flesh. I've seen you
in the flesh. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. He's actually shorter than you think, viewers and listeners. I always wondered why they had you in as Richard Hammond, you know, in the early days of the Grand Teen when you'd have the name, and thought you can't be that short to be Richard Hammond, but he is, viewers, he is.
Pretty much, yeah, I'm about 5'9"-ish. Well, Richard Hammond's about 5'6", to be fair, isn't he? So,
midget, yeah.
He is very much a midget, yes. I mean, we met, this is probably about a month ago now. Literally about a month.
Yeah.
And we filmed the episode for our channel, the Grand Teen, where we do a specific challenge, or, you know, we do like a big collab basically with you, Matty, and then we had, you know, some challenges as part of that. And you recorded something as well, didn't you, for your channel?
Well, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to come with this sort of thing, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and the Grand Teen, because I do a sort of journey road trip sort of video of how it went driving there in the Saxo. Quite a long journey, especially in that car. Drove Bailey's car, so that's another video, and then, as Bailey said, some challenge videos, including a comparison between a Saxo and an MX-5. Never seen before television.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's what we're all about here: originality and comedy.
Yes.
So that's what you'll be seeing.
Yeah, and just leeching off Top Gear as well, but we'll gloss over that.
Hang on, wait, before you go there, we've changed our name. We've changed, most of the things we do on the channel there. So I'd say it's inspired by. That's what we'd say. And you can look out for those videos, hopefully in autumn, or if you're an American, in fall, whatever that means.
I think we're both aiming for the autumn, aren't we, to get this content out? Yeah.
But anyway, let's get on to the car news.
Yes.
There's quite a variety today. Who wants to start? Do you want to start, Matty, or do you want me to start?
Well, yeah, I'll start actually, because going on from sort of coming back to me and you meeting, I talk about in my video that you'll see in the autumn about how there's a slight north-south divide, and that when I got down south, I realised that there is a lot of Waitrose stores, which is, you know, nice, but also a little bit surprising. And then I read this week, in fact, I put down the pad and paper. I've actually got it here on the screen. Technical. Headline this week: Shell, the petrol station, Shell to install 800 EV chargers at Waitrose shops by 2025.
I'm not interested.
Well, no, neither am I, but I am at the same time, because there is just one problem with this. Though all those 800 EV chargers will be down south, which means there'll be even more of a north-south divide, because we haven't got any Waitrose, therefore, chargers up north. So that's ruined.
That's very interesting you say that, actually, Matty, because I saw a video the other day, and it was someone explaining, like, oh, apparently they're putting ethanol in petrol now to basically degrade the engines quicker so that you would buy an electric car.
Is that
and I
true?
think that apparently, I don't know if it is, it's TikTok, so you never know, but I saw a TikTok video and it was like this guy explaining how they started to put ethanol which isn't good for, engines or anything at all like that. So that's apparently what they're doing, so that your car degrades engine quicker. But I think it's something from like 2010 below. So if your car is newer than 2010, you should be fine. But anything below that, us, then we should be worried about it a little bit.
Well, the Saxo's fine. I've put my Saxo in on the website to see if it'll run this new E10 fuel. That's fine. The 205, however, on gov.uk, you just put the make and model, or possibly just the year in, and your registration, I think, and it'll tell you whether it'll run it. But the 205, however, doesn't run it, so I will just have to keep using normal petrol that we've got now.
I mean, I might have to look into that as well, because obviously my MX-5's daily, so I need to know about that, really.
I mean, it will carry on for a while, but it's almost like 2-star and 4-star. They'll just phase it out. Because you used to be able to get 4-star, 2-star petrol leaded. But yeah,
Matty, I would like to talk about a car.
Yes, an actual car. It's only been how long have we been recording? I can't see.
About 10 minutes ish.
10 minutes, yes. First car of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, a car on the Car Talk podcast. Wow, can you believe it?
No.
This is the new Hyundai Elantra N. Looks pretty cool, actually.
Click the link now.
Yes, click the link now. It doesn't come in that paint job, don't worry, but it's got the same paint job as the Hyundai A20N, so which is already quite nice. It looks very cool, actually. It's a 2-litre petrol engine with 280 brake horsepower, and it apparently has the N-Grin shift boost mode, whatever that is.
It certainly does look good. From the picture. I'm
not sure on the spoiler though, actually.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's exactly what we need. It looks like it's going to be a saloon, doesn't it?
Sports saloon, nice one to fit in with other sort of BMW rivals.
Yeah, and it will compete against the BMW just like the old Hyundai Coupe did. Looks a lot better than the original Hyundai Elantra or Lantra or whatever they called it back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Hyundai are quite I don't know, they're becoming quite a bit of a
trendy,
cool brand. Yeah. They're releasing some questionable but quite funky electric cars.
It's different. I think it's what we need as well, because I'm getting bored of some of the cars now.
Well, it's good that they're not just saying, we're going to be a Korean shitbox company for the rest of our lives. Car Twitter is going quite crazy for the Ioniq 5 or 4, whatever it's called, and this plus the I think we did talk about the i20 on the last podcast, didn't we? The i30.
Yeah, we did, and we've talked about the Ioniq 5 as well. Yeah,
so loving Hyundai at the moment. This one, the engine and everything, it just sounds very good.
I want to mention the Ioniq 5 later on, actually, because I've got something to say about that, which I'll say a little bit later, because I've seen one in real life, and you'll see what I'll say later.
Anyway, from charging points to the V12 this week, don't know if you've seen, Bailey, we've learned that the successor for the Lamborghini Aventador will have a V12 engine, which is great news.
I was actually wanting to mention this because I had lots of information about it.
Oh, you've got I'll just you
go
can
for it. Yeah.
Go for it in a minute. I'll just tell you what I know, which isn't a lot. It's that the CEO of Lamborghini has said yes, it will have a V12, and also just a little prediction from me. I think Lamborghinis, they've always had brilliant names. Countach is my personal favourite.
Yeah.
And
no reason there.
No, none at all. I'm sure this one will have an amazing name that'll just spark things in your head, but at the same time I'm not actually 100% it will, because the last Lamborghini to come out was called the Lamborghini Sian. So
I mean,
Sian works at Superdrug, doesn't she? It's not the late name for a Italian hypercar, is it?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, this you on about the Aventador, the latest Aventador?
Yes.
Or just a new?
Well, it says Aventador successor, which I presume means that they're discontinuing the Aventador and
So
making
this is the last one.
Oh, okay.
So it's called the Ultimate. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
And it's basically
name.
It's basically the last. I think it's quite a good name actually because it just sounds meaty.
Yeah.
But it's basically the last Aventador coming out before they go electric, I'm assuming.
So
and like I said, it's keeping... Yeah, pretty much. It's like I said, it's keeping the V12 in there as well. It's bumped up to 780 brake horsepower.
Yeah.
Does 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. But to me, Matty, actually, I saw this at Goodwood, and which is what I wanted to mention later about Goodwood and the whole thing. I saw it up close, and it is so stunning. It's like my perfect Aventador in one. It's got like hints of like SVJ, it's got hints of Hurricane, the old original Aventador, and it's all in one car.
They haven't held back with this one, have they, at all?
No.
There's not a hint of Audi in this picture that I'm seeing here, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. It almost looks like the Batmobile. Almost.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's just insane. I'd actually, if I was to buy a supercar right now, I'd buy that. That is the car I'd buy. Unfortunately, it's not out yet though.
No.
But I want to move on to something less interesting, and that is the all-new Voxel Astra. It's a plug-in hybrid, and it looks it looks like the the Corsa they just released back in 2020. And Matty, you're not going to like it because it is a Voxel.
No.
But can you agree with this and me, actually? My only issue is, actually, it looks a bit like a Golf GTI. I don't know if you can see that.
Have you gone mental?
It does a little bit. If you look at the back of it.
I don't like... Oh, I'll look at the back now. I don't like the new Golf, though.
Yeah.
But I certainly like it a lot more than that. No, I still don't think it... I get that what you mean with the lights and that, but...
Yeah.
There's the current trend now. It's come back around from about 20 years ago where they're spreading the letters out on the back of the tailgate of Astra as though it's a fucking good word and is synonymous with joy and happiness.
Which it isn't, obviously.
Yeah. Interior straight out of a Peugeot 308.
I was about to say that, actually. It does look very Peugeot-y.
Absolutely nothing about this car at all. I mean, if it's built in Britain and in Ellesmere Port, not too far from me, that's great. Don't think it will be. They've just been a whole thing about that, about them losing the contract and things.
Yeah.
No.
Not really interested, but it's some news that we need to cover because someone will like that. Probably someone who lives in Bracknell. But we'll move on. Have you got anything else, Matty?
Yes, much more important news than the Vauxhall Astra. The new Peugeot 108 is now only going to be offered as a 5-door in a 2021 update.
I thought you said more interesting than the Astra.
Sorry, less interesting than the Astra. The new Peugeot 108, which is updated for 2021, will now only be available as a 5-door model.
That's a bit strange though, isn't it?
Well,
because 5 doors on that tiny little car, it doesn't really work.
It's just sad news all round, really, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, it's a Peugeot at the end of the day, and I'm not interested.
No. Can I tell you one more great headline that you will be interested in? It would not be a Car Talk podcast without a headline from Dacia this week.
Yes.
I missed the one 3 weeks ago about them selling their 200,000th car, so congratulations to that. Sorry, Dacia, had me blinkers on that day. But there's going to be a new 2022 Dacia Logi MPV launched in September.
Wow. Are you not interested? I'm not interested.
Anything Dacia does, I'm interested in.
Are you? Well, I'm not on the same page. Let's move on to something a bit more super and powerful.
Your turn.
This is hopefully some good news. This is another headline, I guess. Bugatti and Rimac are set to be announcing to join forces, and now this could mean there might be an incoming Bugatti Electric Car. What do you think of that, Matty?
Well, it's promising. It's a modern world. We've got to embrace these electric cars. I'm sure it will be blisteringly fast.
Yeah, the two top, like the most, the top speed of their cars are, through the roof. So collabing, can they make something that goes 400 miles an hour? That's what I want to know.
That's it. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be good. What are Rimac? A tuning company?
You don't know what Rimac are?
No, I do, but I've forgotten.
They're the electric car, man. They made the Rimac.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
God, you scared me there. If you type in Rimac Nevera, that's the new one they released. It's got It's got almost 2,000 horsepower. 0 to 60 is in like 1.9 seconds or something.
I remember watching this on CarWow. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. I think they look brilliant. They're from Croatia, so something a bit different. But yeah, they're going to be collabing with Bugatti. Hopefully make something really good. Have you got anything else, Matty?
Well, I've got two more things, really. But the first, carry on with the positive vibes here. I have come up with a new business. I've solved a problem, and it is to do with cars. We could start a business out of this. Now, I don't think you'll mind me saying this, right? But me and Bailey at the moment, we're both talking to girls. We found some girls and we're talking to them. Yeah. All
Can you believe it? Car guys have got female attention.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. It
is.
Also, so you're talking to your girl, I'm talking to mine. My mates have also, they're also talking. It's a very strange, surreal time. And what I've noticed about all of these girls and women, I should say, is that none of them can drive, right? Not
bold statement, but
no. As your girl that you're talking to, got a driving license? Oh, she has.
Net.
No, she hasn't. The girl I'm talking to, she's 24. Or 23. She's doing driving lessons.
So she hasn't got one.
Doesn't have one. Etc. Etc. Me friends, none of them have it, right?
Yeah.
So you always that opens up problems. You're always designated driver. You've got to be the gentleman and things like that, and can't have a drink, can't relax, got to drive. So I've thought of a solution for this, for you to date someone who you can guarantee has a driving license, right?
Wow, okay.
Because this is just genius. This is better than Tinder, right? Cut out the middleman. Okay, are you listening? Are you sitting comfortably?
Popcorn is ready.
Here is my Dragon's Den pitch. Quid for 98% of the business. Deborah Meaden, if you're interested. Right. So, driving instructors, like the companies, they all have Facebook pages. Now, if you go onto your local one, your local sort of franchise one, so it's a big sort of operation with lots of driving instructors and lots of people passing their driving test. You go onto their Facebook page, right, and you scroll through what they've posted, and it will often say, Mia Smith has passed today at Liverpool, whatever, driving test centre, and it'll be a picture of her holding up a driving test certificate to say that she's passed. So you keep scrolling and you find the girl that you like the look of the most. You read the caption to see what her name is. You search her on Instagram, slide into the DMs. You know that she can drive. You don't even have to say, oh yes, I found you on the Chris Kelly driving instructor Facebook page and I saw you pass it. All you do is find her, slide into her DMs if you like the look at her, and you can start talking from there. And when she goes, oh, by the way, I can drive, you can go, oh, can you? Yeah. And it'll be like an added bonus. Yes? Are you with me?
Oh, fucking hell, mate. You might be onto something there, but at the same time, that could lead to, let's say, older men doing the same thing. Now, have you got a system where, it stops like certain ages from following or commenting?
Well, I haven't made this into an app yet, but this, for now, until someone takes my idea on board, this is a free service and free thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. I mean, it's not so good if you're an old man and these poor people that are passing the test are gonna have old men sliding into the DMs. But if you're relatively young like us, as long as they're not. I mean, I'm 22 now, so perhaps not 17. But if they slightly older, 18, 19, you can quite legally go for it,
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely onto something there.
Thank you. That's all you need to say.
I definitely get. I mean, I don't get tired of doing lifts. I like doing them, especially if it is with a girl that I'm talking to. Yeah. Because I want to be with them.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you and my mates and me should leave these girls that we're talking to and do. But I'm saying, if we'd have done that, we'd have had a girl that could drive.
We exactly, yeah. I mean, it's definitely an option for people that want someone that not wants to drive as well. To be fair, I know what you mean though. There aren't that many like girls our age that actually can drive.
It's strange, isn't it?
It is, and it's like
it's almost like women can't drive.
It's almost like that, yeah. I mean, they can't. But apparently, the girl I'm talking to wants to wants to get a motorbike. So I mean, she'll still do lifts for me, but I'll be on the floor somewhere on the A4. But that's the problem. I don't know if I feel comfortable going on a bike, but I would definitely give it a go. But yeah, I like that idea, Matty.
Thank you. Don't steal.
I'm gonna talk about Goodwood to you because I know you didn't go and I did, and it was excellent. It went start of July with my dad. Very nice to be back there. It was just pretty much a frickin' packed day. Got there at 7. Left at about 6, and there was so much to do. There was so much to see. It was amazing, basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of the cars that I saw there, we've actually mentioned on the podcast, and I'd quite like to mention a few of them that I've now seen in real life.
Yeah.
That I've maybe changed my mind on a little bit.
Oh, okay.
and sat in them and things like that. So I saw a lot of them. Like for example, I saw the new M3 and the new M4 with the, people saying really terrible grille.
Well, we were saying that.
Having seen them in person and having sat in them, they've actually grown on me. And the thing is, they got when you have a license plate over the grille, it looks completely fine. It's still a little bit big, but it's like I looked at them and I'm like, I actually really like that. I'd actually buy one of those. And it's so weird how I'd gone from like hating the grille completely to actually seeing it in person and going, yes, I like that. Another car, for example, is the new 2 Series, which they only announced like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I still don't like it, actually, but I'm less... I like it a bit more now that I've seen it in the flesh.
It's grown on you slightly, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, it's the lights that at the back that just put me off completely. Like, I just don't like the lights, and the car that I saw there was in like a purpley colour, so I'm just like, really? And I also mentioned this earlier, the new Hyundai Ioniq 5. I saw this actually driving around on the hill climb.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, it actually does look like what it looks like in the pictures. It looks really futuristic-y, and almost something out of something like a futuristic movie. I was like, okay, that's fine. It looks fine, but my main problem was how freaking big it was. It was like a crossover.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I knew from the pictures that it was.
It's honestly massive. And it's meant to be a hatchback, and it's like the size of like a GLE. maybe a bit less, but like it's still pretty tall. And if you think about a normal hatchback, like for example the Astra we talked about earlier, it's massive compared to it.
And and things like the Astra, they're already, in my opinion, massive as it is.
Too big,
yeah.
And I did see the new Lamborghini, which we mentioned there.
Oh, okay.
That was really nice. And the new Huracan STO, which is like a track-focused Huracan, I think.
Yeah.
And finally, Matty does not like this car at all. But I saw the new Genesis G70, because they do the shooting brake one and a saloon one. I think they do the SUV one as well. I'm not that interested in the SUV, but I sat in them. And I sent you a video, Matty, didn't I, when I was there? Of me sitting in them and just walking around it. And I said how much I liked it because it's nice. It's almost like a nice blend of like a Jag, Aston Martin, Peugeot, a bit of Ford Mondeo in there, like the grille. And inside it's so comfortable. Like I would happily buy that car. But you don't like it, Matty. I don't know why.
I would happily unfriend you on Facebook if you bought that car.
Why don't...
It's just a bit of a gimmick. I feel we don't need it. We didn't ask for it. It's not as desirable as something like even an Audi, a Merc or anything. It's just not. What is the point in a Genesis?
I know what you mean. Like, I know it's a bit sort of like we don't need it, but it's almost like a nice surprise because of how. I think it looks pretty cool.
It just reminds me of Peter Gabriel as well. The name, the band Genesis, just. Oh yeah. No, I just can't get on board with them. What is? No.
Yeah, I mean, I did really like the look of it, and I sat in it for a few minutes, and I'd look around, played around with the instruments. It's all really clean and thought about in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It does feel really comfortable. Like when you sit in there, the seats are really nicely made, nice leather. It's almost got a bit of like Bentley in there as well in the interior, so it does feel quite spendy. I think the top one was like 100k, but that's like for the top range. But they average around 50 grand, something like that. But yeah, I'll bring up some pictures later on. But yeah, I like it a lot. But Matty isn't that much of a fan, which is fine.
And from Genesis to another car that I hate. Some sad news this week. It involves a Fiat 500 and my neighbour. Unfortunately, there's been a bit of road rage this week and a bit of an argument with the woman opposite my house who has a Fiat 500. I'm not going to speak too loud in case she hears me and puts me windows in, but basically what you need to know is that there has been a sort of silent feud. This woman knows that she winds me up, and I haven't said nothing for 2 years because even when there's a space outside of her house, she parks in my space outside of mine for 2 years, and I've always hinted, blocked my car and backed it up right up bumper to bumper and all that sort of stuff she's never ever ceased, but I've never said nothing because I don't own the space. It's public land. She can, but yesterday, and it was only yesterday, things got a little bit heated.
Oh no.
I was driving down the main road leading to my house on the way home from work. I was doing 40 in a 30 zone. I'm sorry, but I did do it on purpose. I was purposely doing 40. I wanted to go home. Fortunately, the kids are off school, so they're all just at home on the Xbox eating jelly snakes. And she turned out of a side street, and she, as she explained, she saw me coming, and she still decided to go and cut me right up. And I knew it was her, so I thought, right, well, I'm just going to tailgate you all the way back to ours, only about, another minute down the road. And I tailgated her all the way into our street where she parked, as she normally does, outside our house. So I thought, Matty, do not say nothing, just get out and go in. Because I thought, if anyone's got the right to say anything, it's me. She cut me up. I tailgated you because you cut me up. Deal with it. No, She is absolutely raging. She has made her sort you driving out, blah blah blah. Really, really shouting and everything like that. Proper mad. Went off on one. Typical 500 owner, really. Just can't contain themselves.
Well, they had too much coffee in the morning, don't they, from Starbucks?
So she was all latted up. Yeah, and there was frothy milk coming out of her mouth as she was shouting at me. And at least I hope it was milk. She's quite sexy when she was angry, to be fair. She didn't know that, no. So that and I just said, look, we disagreed, and I said, look, you cut me up and you didn't indicate and all that, and she carried on and said, like that, you nearly gave me a heart attack and all that. And she explained that I was quite far away and I had time to slow down when she pulled out. And I said, well, yeah, but you had time. If you saw me that far away, you had time to not pull out and you still decided to.
Exactly.
So I said, well, while we're on it, why have you parked outside my house for the past 2 years when you could park there? Is there not good enough for you? She said, my tyres on my car, I couldn't get them up that steep curb, which is, a load of rubbish because I can get my Saxo up there. So anyway, in the end, I just said, look, let's just agree to disagree. We're neighbours. Shook hands, and her name is Jess, and we're going to Nando's on Friday, so that's that.
Very interesting story, Matty. I like that.
Yes. Slag.
I've had my fair few share of road rages. In fact, the other day I was literally picking the girl that I'm talking to up from the station in Guildford, and I was in the wrong lane. It was my fault, basically, but I didn't, because the sat nav was like, the fuck are you doing? Like, you need to turn around. And I was like, okay, I will. So I had to go in a different lane, and it was basically, I came to a set of lights. I was right at the front, and there was a car next to me, which is the lane I needed to get into. I let him go because I knew he was going to go quick, and I sort of sped up a bit and then just indicated to go in. I had plenty of room.
Yeah. And
the car behind me, who looked like someone from council estate, beeped at me, and she held the horn for like ages, and I literally just said to myself, fuck off, you twat. And then as I pulled into the bit where I was turn round, she like shouted out the window at me, and I was like, what have I done wrong? I mean, I know I was in the wrong lane, but I indicated and I gave you plenty of room. Yeah. But she knew that I was going to, when I indicated, she sped up. That's the problem. So I'm just like, great. But that was a little bit of a thing I had recently.
Yeah. I suppose we best get on. Go, sorry, what are you going to say?
I was about to say we should probably move on to our theme.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We should probably get on to that.
Now, the theme this week is a bit of a discussion. We're going to be talking about, are electric cars any more or any less polluting than petrol cars? And, me and Matty drive petrol cars. We probably will continue to till we actually are forced to by the government. Knowing the government, that'll be very soon. And it's just a kind of discussion what our thoughts are on the whole sort of car and polluting aspect. But Massey, let's start off with the statement of, are electric cars actually that much better for the environment, is the sort of title of this topic. What do you think about that?
Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that most electricity now is, sort of ethically sourced, if you like, and doesn't come from coal and things like that. But then, no, in the sense of how we're going to get the lithium for the batteries and stuff. A lot of animal rights people have talked about how we're destroying seabeds with it and stuff, and then there's the matter of getting rid of the batteries. The lifespan of a battery, I think, last time I checked, was about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, something like that.
We're throwing them away, or it's not good what's going into the ground. So it is. It is one of them, and I'm sure we'll come on to this later. But I think that the whole battery and the electric thing is just a temporary solution, and it definitely won't last as long as we've had petrol and diesel. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you on that actually as well. I saw this video about the whole thing the other day, and they said on the video that electric cars are actually only like 25% better for the environment, which is better, but it's not 90%. So it's like, is it really actually any better? Which is why I kind of thought of this like topic for this podcast. You know, there's, like you've mentioned, there's the whole thing about the batteries and getting the resources, and also actually powering them. Because the thing about it, if every car became electric right now, the electricity would go up by so much, the demand for it would go up by so much, and therefore we would need to be burning more fossil fuels because we still do use like factories to do that. You know, we need to build more solar panels, we need to do more wind turbines, and that's in itself gonna need electricity to make it, if that makes sense. So it's a whole cycle of sort of this thing going on.
It will, and I definitely think there's a lot that we don't know in terms of, you know, are we just this like offsetting it, so we're saving here, but we're actually so saving power there and preventing emissions from one bit, but using more and creating more emissions from another bit, and it's being, you know, in the manufacturing process, is that happening? Do we not know about that? I don't know. That's obviously all conspiracy, but I can't imagine it to be as much of a clean break as a lot of us are led to believe. Whereas, yes, so if you switch to this electric car, you're saving the planet. Well, you know, it must create some emissions. All these new materials that are in, you know, we're developing, because it's in its early stages, the electric car still, kind of, you know, all of this, the sourcing of it all, like, is that all as environmentally friendly as it is to bang a bit of steel together and, you know, have fuel running through it? I don't know. That's my honest answer.
I mean, like you said earlier on about actually getting the resources for lithium, I think there's only a few sort of places that do it in the world. Yeah. And they've got like these massive factories that are covering it to get all of that out of the ground. Yeah. And that in itself isn't good for the environment.
It's like, you know, you might as well be mining for oil, mightn't you? You know.
Exactly. So there's definitely pros and cons with everything, like there is, you know, for other things. But like, you know, it's sort of very, you know, I'm not trying to say it's debatable whether that it's actually a solution, because like, for example, planes, they use way more petrol, way more fuel to power them just to go on one flight. Yeah. But then there is less of them. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, does that compensate for it?
I can't remember what it was I read about how far you can drive a car before a plane even gets off the ground, the same amount of fuel it uses to drive a car. But it has annoyed me that with the whole climate crisis that we've automatically just sort of blamed the car and said we've got to change the whole thing about transport with a car. I mean, that's got to be up there with one of the most important things about, you know, petrol.
Or living.
It's how I just think of how much the car has given us and given people, and
it's also that you do get enthusiasts for like planes and stuff, but like they're nowhere near to the level of enthusiasts for cars. Yeah. And I'm fine with like buses and like, you know, the main sort of transport, like other public transports being electric, or like some city cars being electric. Like that's fine, because that pure purpose is to, you know, be in a city where it's quite packed and polluted.
Well, I'm sure
having an electric car makes sense.
I'm sure we'll get onto this, but hydrogen, I've been reading, because I think if you ask me, that would be our solution, but it is very expensive to sort of get and sort of keep. But anyway, I've been reading the government's plan on the whole thing, because I don't know if you know, it's going to be illegal from 2040 to buy a new diesel-powered lorry. So I'm thinking, well, electric has got to be really, really, really good and effective if the government are willing to just think about, you know, how important lorries are and getting from places and that. They have to be so powerful and be able to hold a charge with all that weight by 2040 if the government have done that. But it turns out that isn't the case, and that in the government's plan that I was reading, they want to start as soon as possible, really, with lorries running on hydrogen and also planes.
Interesting.
So that would be an experiment on getting on a plane that runs on hydrogen. I don't know. I mean, I'd trust it, but, you know, I don't know if a lot of people do that. So what I think they're doing is, I definitely think, having read that electric is just a temporary fix. So the government want to have all the heavy-duty vehicles, if you like, running on hydrogen, and then I think it probably will gradually move down to the cars, and, you know, manufacturers, when they sort of hear that news, well, you know how it goes, they'll start saying, right, here's our new hydrogen car, and everybody else will follow suit.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. You know, I never really knew much about hydrogen. Is that, like, do you actually get noise from it? Or do you just is it sort of similar to electric?
No, it's basically electric, really, but you just fill it up like you would a petrol car. And I think it is, as it stands at the moment, more, you know, you can go further on a tank of hydrogen than you can compressed hydrogen than you can electric charging a battery.
And is it still like gears, like manual gears? Or is it just...
I don't know, because there has only been one car, and it was the Toyota Mirai that runs on hydrogen, and I think that'll be an automatic, and also that Honda years and years ago, the Clarity or something, which then became the Insight, which was just a hybrid. But I don't know. I'm sure if they're doing it with electric, and they're trying to do it with electric, you'll be able to get manual gearbox out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I definitely think that'd be the one. Or cars will go backwards, and you won't have all the heated steering wheels and heated seats and all the weight of all the equipment, and it'll literally just be like an old Fiat Panda with lightweight seats in and an electric motor, an electric motor, just so you can get more range, because it's all that sort of stuff, the heated seats, the cooled seats, all that is using up the power and the range. So
that's very, very, very true, especially with how much, like, you know, air conditioning we use, heated seats we use a lot.
Well, I actually
and all, like, the
think
technology in it.
Yeah, I think I'm actually saving the world by driving a Citroen Saxo. It has been, honestly, it has been 34 degrees in Liverpool last week. I've had to drive around with just my cool fan on, which has just been blowing lukewarm air out, and have my sunroof and my windows open. But everybody, I guarantee, who's got air conditioning will have had it on last week, using a lot more fuel and having to fill up more often, whereas I, in my 20-year-old car that I haven't polluted by scrapping yet, and, you know, I am driving around with no air conditioning and I'm using less fuel, so I'm saving the world. Yeah.
So basically, what we've established, Matty, is if you want to save the world, buy a petrol car.
Yes.
But get one with no air conditioning or heated seats.
There we
go.
Yeah.
That is the pitch to the government.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be doing that. That will be set into plan in 2030.
And I'll say, while you're there, government, what about this, where you go onto the driving instructor Facebook page and pick the girl you like?
Yeah. I mean, I saw somewhere that it was like vehicles and transportation make like 20% of the pollution. And in that 20%, I think like 12% is like cars and buses and stuff. Which actually isn't anything compared to, you know, the rest of the pollution. Because like, you got to think about, you know, fishing. That's like one of the main causes of pollution.
Yeah.
Factories is there, mining, all that sort of thing. So actually, vehicles are a very small amount, and cars are even smaller.
Can I propose another solution to climate change as well?
Yes.
I'll get the pad out here. I've got this stat here. Now, there's 4.5 million old people driving in the UK, right?
This is gonna go.
This is nothing against old people, okay? But there's 4.5 million pensioners on the road, so between 60 and whatever the oldest is.
Yeah.
Now, typically, pensioners, they don't do a lot of mileage. My granddad being one of them, he's got a petrol Fiesta. He doesn't do many mileage, but I know from working in a car dealer that mobility cars, they come in all different shapes and sizes. You can have whatever car you want. It can be a big diesel, it can be whatever you want. But so there's a lot of these pensioners who are driving around in petrol cars when really they could be just doing electric cars. They don't need a petrol engine or a big diesel engine. They don't need any of that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you were aware, but there did used to be a car for just disabled people called the Invacar years ago. It was just a little one-seater car. You drive around in it. That's your car for you if you're an invalid, basically. You wouldn't be able to call it that now. But I have proposed something here. Now, forget about mobility. Stop saying to the old people, yes, you can have a 2.1 Nissan X-Trail diesel on mobility. And they go, oh, yes, thank you very much. And they, get a load of parking scrapes on it. Give the 4.5 million pensioners in the UK who probably don't do many miles, give them a Citroen Ami. Why don't the government make a deal with Citroen and say we're going to give a Citroen Ami to every pensioner who's on mobility? You've solved climate change.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Matty, because the Citroen Ami, I think that will sell quite a lot because of, a number of reasons. There's quite a cool market for that. It's, very versatile. You can bring it anywhere, and it's technically not a car, so you can, take it down a back street, for example, into Waitrose, and it will work for old people because it's, you don't need to do many miles in it, like you said. I think that's a good idea. Look at Matty doing all the business this week.
I know.
So there we are. That's Matty's business plan. Well, I should say a couple of business plans.
Yeah.
Multiple. That's the first for the Car Talk podcast. So thank you very much, Matty. We'll bear that in mind, and I'll
genuine
get it to the,
consumer advice all round this week, I feel.
That is very true, yes.
Dating
General
advice. How to save the planet. Yeah, just we've had it all this week, haven't we? And
yeah.
And Bailey's told us about the latest supercars. What more could you want?
This is the perfect podcast, and if you didn't enjoy it, then bugger off. But if you did enjoy it, then make sure you subscribe to the Grand Teen. Follow us on Instagram at the Grand Teen and Twitter. We don't even use it though. And of course, subscribe to Matty at Matty's Cars and his YouTube channel, Matty's Cars YT.
Yes. Join us next month as well, which will be the 10th podcast.
Yes, our anniversary, technically.
Well, yeah, our anniversary. So just not our anniversary, just the podcast's anniversary.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably have to have like a special guest on next month when we. Rebecca Jackson still hasn't got back to us, but yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Excellent. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching and listening to this month's podcast. We do hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.